Hi friends, Ansu here. In this video, I want to talk to you about mixed media and about the new experience that is coming up in October. We as women sometimes go through life and things get so hectic and we have to deal with changing hormones all the time and all the stress factors that come at us from all sides of life. And I am particularly going through menopause at the moment, and so for the first time in my life, I really feel like I am faced with something that I'm totally unprepared for. But then God reminds me of His faithfulness. He reminds me of things that I need to remember in this challenging season so that I can thrive through it and be resilient in the changing of seasons. And so we have spoken about transitions in our previous camp experience. And this one we're going to a little bit continue, but the focus of this 7-day mixed media camp experience is going to be just making art. And while we're making art, we're going to focus on the messages that will help us regain our resilience. If you feel stuck and you feel like you really, it's more than being stuck, it's just a question of you're not coping and you feel like you've lost your bloom as a woman. And you can be young and feel that. You might go through or be going through depression. You might be going through very kind of challenging season in terms of your health or family or work life. And all of these things can overwhelm us at times, and it can make us doubt our faith. It can make us doubt God if we don't have the right thinking about who God is, about how He feels about us, and how He sees us. And so this 7-day experience is to help us regain the right focus and to be reminded of what matters most in life. And when we build whatever we decide to think or do in this life on the truth of God, then that is going to lead us from a place of darkness back into the light again. And hopefully also you will develop some art skills, but that's not the main focus. The focus of the art is to have fun while you are contemplating the deep things that the Lord wants to do in your spirit. So I'm inviting you to sign up for free. It's going to be hosted in my Grace Lily Facebook group, and all you need to do is sign up via the link in my Linktree, and you basically sign up to receive my newsletter so I can send you the materials and things that you're going to need for this mini course. So 7-day kind of a camp experience, but just basically making art like you see me do in this video. Now, what have I been doing so far? I have used some flower elements that you would find in some of my journal love kits as a side margin, kind of a bonus design that I just fill the page up with. And so all I did was to prep the page with some gel medium because it dries clear and you will still be able to see the flowers. The reason I do this is because I'm going to work with wet medium on these flowers, or I did work with wet medium, and some Nouveau powders to just distress them and some stamping and so on, and I don't want the printed ink to bleed, and so that was my reason. So remember, when you do that, work from top to bottom, work quickly, don't work back and forth because that might activate the ink, and work quickly. Right, so we will be mostly working on mixed media paper for the 7-day experience. You don't need fancy products. You can use any surface that you have available. All I suggest is that you do have some gesso and gel medium to prep those surfaces to kind of protect it and so that it can take the wet mediums that we're going to use. What I'm using in this video is basically a canvas sheet. So that's basically fabric that has been prepped to take art mediums, but you don't need to do that. But if you want to frame your art expression, then canvas sheets can be a great experience, and also they are made to take a lot of different mediums. Now I'm just playing with stencils. I am not trying to get a perfect expression of that or print of that pattern in the stencil. I'm just trying to fill up the blank page with some texture, and I'm using my Nouveau powders, which are basically mica powders with pigment powder mixed into them, and so it gives you these wonderful shimmering effects, and so they always surprise. And there are a variety of similar products on the market. I would suggest that you sample and compare and choose the one that's the most affordable and gives you the most joy. Right, so I've been collecting these. I've got a new one in my stash and I'll link it down below. I actually did use it a couple of times, and I used a blue and a pink and a turquoise. And then I decided for the background I wanted a lot of blue because blue is my favorite color, and so I mixed a couple of blues and greens together because I know that I'm going to use a lot of that kind of magenta purplish pink for the flowers, and so I don't want the background to be too pink. And I really like how this little artwork in the end came out. And all we're going to do with the background is just play. And this just random play without kind of rhyme or reason is part of your process in making art. And I want you to embrace kind of the randomness of it and just going with the flow. Whatever your hand feels like doing, do that. And so there's no particular fancy kind of mixed media layering techniques that I want to suggest to you, whatever, because that's not the purpose of art journaling in general, and it's also not the purpose of this experience that I am putting together for you. So just playing with my stencils and with the things that I have in my stash. Now you can do similar by creating your own stencils, cutting patterns out of cardstock and using that, and you can throw away that piece when you're done with it, or you can use it for a next mixed media experience where you layer that into a background. So think out of the box. If you don't have the kind of expensive art products that you might see people use in videos, I want to really suggest that you upcycle what you have at home. Use bubble wrap, use plastic sheets that you can crumple up and create textures with in your backgrounds. The basic tools that I would suggest you need is some acrylic paints. That's always, I feel, with mixed media, a wonderful medium to work with. Inks that you can blend with water that can be moved around on a page is great. A couple of stencils. Your major mediums that I want to suggest is gesso and gel medium. That can help you build your background and protect surfaces and layer things up. If your gesso is a little bit more textury, then you can also put that through a stencil. What I did here in my video is I used my leftover gel medium, and I'm kind of in a habit of doing that always, and put that through the stencil so that I can have a little bit of texture. I didn't really want to have too much of a 3D effect, so it's a very kind of minimalist, soft suggestion of a texture in the background. And what I normally like to do is at the very end I take either a wax medium or something metallic like a gold paint, metallic paint, and I just dip my finger into it, and then I just distress those places where I placed the gel medium through the stencil, just to add some texture and dimension to my background. Now my idea with my girl, and that's why I'm using the white paint, is to kind of blend her into the background. There's a lot of videos showing you how to transfer images and so on, but that can be really tricky for a beginner. And this is just a quick way that I do it. I basically blend that lined picture with a little white paint into the background. I used a lot. Normally I use a little less, but I wanted to really blend her and take her way back into the background so that I can build still around her some more textures using the pinks, bringing that pink in that I'm going to use as kind of part of the focal point. And I used a different kind of stencil. This is an Ivytree Studio stencil that I brought out a couple of years ago, and so any floral stencil will do, and just brought that into kind of overlapping the places where I stuck my girl down. What you can do when you're done with your girl is to give her another couple of layers of gel medium, but I didn't even bother doing that. But if you want to protect your artwork before you stick down anything other than what is already painted on the background, I would suggest just give it a couple of layers, perhaps 2 layers would be good. Let it dry naturally, or use your heat tool and then give it another layer, because that would protect your face and all the detail that you bring in. Just be sure that the mediums that you use to line your artwork is permanent. So if it is a water-based pencil, it will bleed, and because the gel medium is wet, so just be mindful. If a medium is wet, then it will interact with other mediums that are water-based. So the moment that you use something like a distress oxide ink in the background, that would disappear or just blend away or wash away. So there are techniques that I will suggest during our camp that you can kind of get around that if you want to protect that layer. But for the moment, I'm trying to really just enjoy the process of painting, getting back into just painting little face again. And you will see she doesn't look like much in the beginning. If you stop here, you will be frustrated. You need to keep going and adding layers of texture and light and shadows to your face and to the hair especially. So what I did with just getting to the color of her hair is basically using that magenta pink and the blues that I had available and just mixing everything together. Now if you want to get more to a brown, just add some yellow into that. And so just dropped some yellow into it and kept mixing until I was kind of satisfied that her hair looked kind of like mine is currently. So it's like a little bit of a gray color. I'm turning gray, but my hair is kind of a ash blonde, and so that's basically why I chose to use that. But you can use any color, you can match the girl to your own hair color. Now I have another copy of the face that I'm using, and I want to talk about that. I just released 100 artwork collage book that I call Lined Lady Collage Book, and there is 206 pages in this collage book. There's 100 faces in 5 different sizes, so you can use them in mini art journal expressions or larger canvas work if you want to. The idea of these faces is not just to color them in with your pencils. That's one idea. The idea is to use them in your art journals and use them as part of collaging. And that's why I want to suggest this process where you blend that artwork in the background, because what it does is it becomes a suggestion of the artwork that you're going to end up with. It is not the end focus to use that face as the focal point alone and just slap it on a page. It is to blend it kind of and use it as a guideline of what the face should look like that you're going to end up with. So I want you to keep that in mind. I hope you check out my collage book. I will link it down below. There will be a volume 2 and 3 hopefully coming soon, but the idea of a printable collage book is not that you print out the whole thing necessarily, but it is a good idea if you want to do a lot of mixed media work. Then print out on copy paper, on tissue paper, on whatever medium you like to use. Tissue paper is kind of tricky to print on, but it can be done. I have done so successfully many times, but I stick to just plain copy paper if I were you, because it's really affordable, readily available, and you can use it in your artwork as you would do any other piece of paper that you would collage into a mixed media experience. So don't let the type of paper that you use hold you back from trying this process. I kept my face really simple. In the end, if you just add some lines after coloring the face, you would see, especially with the eyes, if you frame it with the eyelids, with a black pen and so on, that those eyes really pop. And remember always to add a little bit of white to the centers of the eyes so that it reflects the light. And if your light comes from the right hand side, make sure that those dots are more kind of positioned to the right of her eyes. If it's from the left, then also make sure that the shadows that you add to her face works with that. I wasn't too concerned about all of that. I just wanted to play and just enjoy the process. And I really, really enjoyed just making this artwork. Even if it's not going to hang somewhere, perhaps I'll frame it. I have some affordable frames lying around I'm going to use and see if that fits, and perhaps I'll trim it down just a little to fit the frame. But for me, just doing this process was really good for my soul. And the words that I chose from the kit that you will receive during the 7-day mixed media experience is called, grateful, and known. While I was doing this artwork, the Lord spoke to my heart and gave me a kind of a indication of his love for me, that he knows me and he knows the person that I am, and that was very encouraging to my heart. So I hope that this entices you to join us. So you can find the link tree in the description and then just click on it. You'll see there's the top link is where you can sign up, and then I'll be in touch via email with more details of this experience. So I hope this little video got you excited. See you in the next one soon.